And welcome to Cover 2 TV. I'm Chris Pajak. Here's Ste Hall, gloriously bald Ste Hall, back in the building. It's the review show. Sorry we're a day late. Ste was still recovering from Aaron Rodgers' collarbone injury, still crying at home. But he's back now. And the Minnesota Vikings last week beat the Green Bay Packers, and that was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, this is the Week 7 review show, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Week 7.
No. Let's talk about my Minnesota Vikings beating your Green Bay Packers.
So
people want to know what you feel about
the first matchup is the Denver Broncos versus the LA Chargers. No,
it's fine.
Listen, it is what it is. Yeah.
We beat you.
Well played. Dirty play, I thought it was dirty.
It wasn't dirty.
Late 30.
It wasn't.
A little bit.
It wasn't.
It's fine.
Come on.
It's fine.
It wasn't.
No,
it was
wasn't.
absolutely fine.
It was one of those things.
Rodgers is just not good enough to be able to
That's exactly what it is, yeah. He's obviously crap.
See, the best quarterback in the league gets up after that and continues to play.
Which one?
Tom Brady.
Well, he wouldn't have been that far out the pocket in the first place.
Exactly, endangering himself. He knows what's best for his team.
Genuinely, you can criticise Rodgers for that. He takes too many hits. That's fair enough. And he took one and
he lost the game because of it.
We lost the season because of it. They won the game. All hope. We lost hope and fun.
And without hope, what really is there for you this season?
Just this.
just Cover 2 TV.
That's all I've got left in my life, yeah, it's fine.
And I'm going to bring it up every single week.
Thanks, mate. Let's move on.
Okay.
How's Case Keenum?
Case Keenum. Do you know what Jenno said to me last week? Do the Vikings have the three best quarterbacks in the league? I was like, well, no, not really, because add the ability of our three up and you're still not getting to the ability of an Aaron Rodgers.
Got good depth.
But we've got decent depth and we're still winning games of football, which is mad.
We'll get to yours later, won't we?
Yeah, we will. So we'll start off with Denver getting shut out by the LA Chargers by 21 points to 0. Yeah, Denver went pretty good, Steve.
No, and it was a strange week, wasn't it? But there was a lot of blowouts. There wasn't much excitement, really. We've got a couple of games on the four main games that were quite close, but this was one of those games, what you thought going in, this could be a close game, and it just wasn't. And 21-0, it reflects the game, and that Denver just had no offense at all. And I mean, the Chargers, like you said, they just rushed 4 all game, dropped 7 guys back, and that's all they had to do. Because the Denver line is injured and it's not that great anyway, and the Chargers that's where the Chargers dominated this game. Trevor Siemian under pressure isn't good. Not many quarterbacks are when they're under pressure, and
pressure with 4 all game consistently.
So and obviously they've got wide receiver injuries, they've got line injuries.
Was out, of course, wasn't it?
It just showed, and it also showed against average or below average offensive linemen that Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram are just going to tear you to bits. And then McCain even got 2 sacks. A lot of that was, concentration was elsewhere and stuff, tidying things up. But that's where the game was won and lost for me, is that the Denver offensive line just could not cope with the Chargers defensive line.
And yeah, I think you're right. And we've both mentioned the fact that the LA defensive line were getting pressure with 4 and stuff, but even the run game wasn't working, and the O-line were losing the run game as well. C.J. Anderson not getting anything, and you're looking at it and you're thinking, early on in the season I was really impressed with Denver. First couple of weeks I was thinking, okay, these actually might be a quarterback away from being a very, very good football side, but I still think that might be the case, to be honest, because the Denver defense is still really good.
It's amazing.
The game does go on a punt return, was it?
Yeah, Benjamin's punt
return. So I think, they've only conceded 14 points there against the LA Chargers. I think that was all right. Denver's defense will keep them in the game, but you need something out of the offense. You can't just rely on that. I mean, to not score any points in a game is pretty poor.
Yeah, it's one of those where Simeon is good enough if everything's right around him. If there's pressure, if the line's that bad and they can't run because the line's bad and there's no protection, then he is going to struggle. Some of his decision making in the game was really poor, but it was decisions under pressure, you know what I mean? And that's where the good and the great are separated, you know what I mean? Simeon's a decent average starting quarterback, maybe a little bit below average, but his decision making when he had Melvin Ingram or Joey Bosa bearing down just wasn't enough. And in the end, like I say, both teams struggled offensively, to be honest. And Denver got they were 3 for 14 on third down, and the Chargers were 3 of 12. You know, I mean, it was a very, that sums the game up defensively. Both sides were dominant. Like you said, the Chargers got the punt return, and they had a little bit more magic from Phil Rivers, who's just a better quarterback than Simeon, and that was the difference. Defensively, they're both very, very good defenses, and they're both ish on the lines. Sorry, on the offense. What I would say is one huge difference was the weapons. I thought Denver had the weapons, and also I thought Hunter Henry had a really good game. Yeah. I thought Hunter Henry was one of the differences in that the contested catches that Denver weren't making, he made.
Yeah. Well, I think it was it second play of the game where Hunter Henry makes about 21 yards on it or something like that, and you're looking at it and going, and they came out from a 2 tight end set as well. So, and Hunter Henry spreads all the way around, right past them, outside of the numbers, catches the ball, and you're thinking, okay, that's nice to see. Like, and, you know, I think he had a really good game as well, to be honest. And I was really quietly impressed with the LA Chargers, because I do rate that Denver Broncos defense. I think everybody does, don't they? Yeah. And I think one of the things when we went into this season, we did all the preview shows, we all thought the Chargers were maybe going to win this division. And what I would say is now, I don't think they're out of it. Because
no, they can't be a 3-4.
Exactly, they can't be. And, you know, you've got the Chiefs there at 5-1 of the Chiefs.
5-2.
5-2, the Chiefs now, of course, yeah. But they're not out of this division, and they look to be getting stronger as well.
Yeah, and like I say, the AFC in general, the wild card, you could get 2 wild cards from this division. It wouldn't be ridiculous to say so, you know what I mean? Because if you look around, you're talking maybe the Bengals, maybe the Bills, Dolphins, one of those two. I don't know. I don't think you're going to get one from the South, if I'm honest. I think only one of those teams will get through. So you could get 3 playoff teams.
And they're on a roll. They've won 3 straight, and the Broncos have lost 2 straight now as well.
Exactly. So they're on the same number of wins that the Broncos are 3-3 because they've had the bye and stuff. But 3-4, the same record as the Raiders. Denver are 3-3, and then the Chiefs are 5-2. They are well back into this because they'll just be kicking themselves after the 2 early games in the season where they should have won. The kicker let them down. They could easily
Was it one against the Broncos, first game of the season?
Well, yeah, the block one, and then they have the game against Miami and stuff.
I always think that's a really interesting, barometer to judge a football team by. I mean, anything can happen, and if you listen to any American football podcasts and stuff, and when players are involved and stuff, they always say the first month of the season doesn't matter, the first 8 games of the season doesn't matter. It's when you get to that November, December time that it starts to matter. And what they always talk about, and what I think, off the back of that is, LA Chargers have played the Broncos once already, and now you're going to see the real football side because they've got a bit of tape on them. They've seen what they've done this season. And it's a complete change from that first game. They ran all over them. Yeah. I mean, the Broncos didn't have a sniff in this game.
That was the thing I was most impressed by the Chargers. They completely shut down the run. And Bosa and Ingram deserve credit for that. They are great pass rushers, but they're also both very, very good against the run. They contain well. They're disciplined in their pass rushing. They don't just leave gaps wide open for a running back to exploit. They've got the best pass rushing duo in the league. I think those two are the best two as a combination. They've got a very, very good quarterback, and they've got decent enough weapons. So they should be a good team. They should be better than 3-4, if I'm honest. But that was an impressive victory, if nothing else. They needed to win at home because their home has been, it's an away stadium. It was full of Broncos fans. It was like, so they had to win that game. I don't think if they lose that game, and they're 2-5, you're looking thinking.
Yeah, it's
that's a big
break.
Players'
heads might drop as well.
And especially they've been swept by the Broncos, so there's your tiebreakers gone. That could be too big. So I think it was almost must win, and they play like it was.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll move on then. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Buffalo Bills. Close game actually, 27-27 going into the last few minutes. Bills kick a field goal to win it after a fumble. Yeah. Recovered by Tre'Davious White, was it?
Yeah. Well, he forced the fumble.
He's
done both. He forced. That's rare, isn't it? Forcing and recovering a fumble. It was a strange game, really, in that for large periods the Tampa offense was on fire. You know what I mean? Jameis has, I think, 3 touchdowns. Almost 400 yards, and he's playing injured. There was doubt whether he was actually going to play after he sprained his shoulder, I think I'm right in saying. And they looked great. Mike Evans was catching things, everything. But the Bills hung on him. For me,
been the story of their season.
A little bit. They win close games. They are very, very, very well coached. Other than right at half time where they melted down. I don't remember that. We'll come to that in a minute. But a guy as Deontay Thompson comes in on Tuesday, plays in the game on Sunday, gets 4 catches for 107 yards. That's scheme and coaching. Because that guy obviously he's been drilled, you know what I mean? Here's what we're doing. We'll keep it simple for you, we'll make it work. That's rare that happens. I didn't even expect the guy to play. He goes 4 for 107. So the Bills, what they lack in talent, their scheme and their coaching is kind of the leveler. And they dominated the Tampa defense, I thought, on the ground especially. We saw nearly 100 yards from McCoy. Taylor 6 for 53, and even Mike Talbot gets 30 yards off
I
runs.
love Mike Talbot, always have done.
He's a fat guy who runs. You know, he gives us all hope. He gives us all, that could be me.
I think I've got a bigger arse than Mike Talbot.
We're both in that category, aren't we? We're both very much in the fullback arse category. I worry about Tampa's defence. It should be better than it is. It's got too many good players for it to be this poor, and teams just ran all over them.
Yeah.
And that ultimately, I thought that was what decided the game, because if it kept the ball away from Jameis, and because he was playing really, really well, and, you know, it stopped him being able to chuck it over the yard because he couldn't get the ball back off the Bills and stuff. So I like the Bills. I think they lack talent. They lack a lot of talent in areas, but they are very, very, very well coached.
And do you know what I liked about the Tampa Bay offense that I've not seen so far this season was the way that they'd used Deshaun Jackson in the game. I mean, you know, notorious deep threat, has been his entire career. You know, think back to those Eagles touchdowns. There's tons of Eagles touchdowns where you think, wow, he's just bombing it here, like, do you know what I mean? But the way that he was playing a little bit of slot, you know what I mean? He was playing inside the numbers, he was catching contested balls, and that's not something I've seen from an experienced Deshaun Jackson. And, you know, that's a guy that shows me that these guys still believe in the coach and they still believe in Jameis Winston, a quarterback, because he's willing to put his body on the line late on in his career for something and to change it up a little bit, because Mike Evans is an absolute stud. I mean, he is, for me, he's definitely top 5 wide receiver. I maybe even put him to 3 now. I think he's been outstanding. His hands, the ball just doesn't move when it hits his hands. It sticks in there, like it's amazing. Like, and you know, away from his body, into his body, he's got every single technique you need as a catcher. But to have that and then have an experienced guy like Deshaun Jackson willing to pick up the pieces in the centre of the park as well, I thought that was really good from the Tampa Bay offense.
they look really good, and like I say, the offense, you know, he scored 27. I think you'd expect to win most games. He scored 27. Unfortunately, it was a good, you know, it was Humphries with the ball. It was a good tackle by White. You know, he very much goes for the ball. It isn't like he is aiming for the strip sack, and then he gets to look at the bounce almost, and he recovers it. But he's been a good pickup for the Bills, and like you say, it used to be a thing where rookie cornerbacks come into the league and they kind of struggle for a bit and then they develop. But this season, there's been 3 or 4 first or second year quarterbacks who are just playing really, really well. He's one of them. Lattimore for the Saints is another one. Obviously, Jalen Ramsey's in his second season. He is absolutely fantastic. So maybe there's something about it's getting easier or again better coaching. I don't know what it is, but it was one of those things where that's what if a great team, like if a New England or a Seattle do that, you think that's what great teams do. Yeah. They find a way to win at the end. And the Bills, you know, they found themselves a way to win at the end, and they kicked the field goal, and the jobs are good. You know what I mean? Very, 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 very good win against a decent team.
That's it. Okay, well, we'll move on then. We'll go to the Cincinnati Bengals at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, not as close a game as I thought it was going to be, if I'm honest. You know, it finished 14-29 in the end. Steelers doing what the Steelers should have been doing again. You know, second week running now. They've really played to their strength. Lev Bell's unbelievable. Like 35 carries for 130 yards, 3 catches for 58 yards on the day. That's what the Steelers need to be doing. And to be honest, I thought Big Ben was a little bit better this week as well. Yeah,
when you say that's what they need to be doing, I kind of agree. I think it's expecting a guy to have 38 touches is a lot, and he gets over 30 constantly, and I just worry he does have injury problems and stuff. I'm not sure. I think that might be a bit too many. I mean, maybe 5 or 6 too many. 38 touches is, you know, that's.
If I understand what you're saying. I really do, and I'm not disagreeing. But if the guy wants it and he thinks he can go, you've got to make a decision as a coach whether you think that's not right or not. And I think somebody will have gone, all right, he can do it.
Yeah, they obviously trust him to do it. You know, they must think his body can hold up and stuff. I think it's a lot, but what isn't that doubt is that when he's got the ball, how good he is. And it isn't even, you know, the stiff arm's amazing when he sits.
Days.
That's someone's alpha, like, I mean, that's someone's dad.
Is that the 4th and 19 or something like that? I can't remember
that's someone's dad, you know what I mean? And he throws him on the floor. That's him. That guy's got to go home to his kids, and his kids have seen that on the telly, and they're going to be like...
I mean, that was about the fourth guy who tried to bring him down as well, and he just goes on. And then actually, as he comes down the touchline as well, he forces another guy off just for a laugh. Like.
It is. That's like That's embarrassing, isn't it?
He turns around and you can't see it because the camera angle doesn't get it. You know he's pissing himself laughing at that guy on the floor.
Yeah,
like,
there's all kind. He was juking guys out the boots all game. I mean, he just couldn't get near him. He is unbelievable. He is now the best. Obviously, with David Johnson injured, he is clearly the best running back in the league, and he is almost borderline unstoppable. And when you do stop him, he seems to get 3 yards. He falls forward, and it looks like it's going to be second and 11, and now it's second and 7 or second and 8 because he just falls forward. He is so good. He is really.
Is it the Castro that they run round?
Yeah, well, De Castro's one of the best, pulling guards in the league. He is like having a Pro Bowl season, and he creates that little gap for Lev Bell, and then Lev Bell
over and over and over.
He just pulls left or pulls right all the time, and Bell just sees it every time. It is like his vision's fantastic. Going back to what you said at the beginning of the segment there, you said it wasn't that close. For a while, it actually was. It was 14-14. The Bengals' offense was actually doing pretty well. Joe Mixon was running well.
They got away from it though. I was
about to say,
second half, they just seemed to not go to Joe Mixon.
Yeah, I thought the game was never that far away from them. I don't think where they had to abandon the run. I think they could, even when it's within like 10, 15, whatever.
I think 14 points. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you can keep doing what's got you there.
They got away from it, didn't they? And the Steelers' defense came into their own a bit, and the pass rush, by the end of the game, the pass rush was just all over Andy Dalton, and I felt a bit sorry for him in the end because there was literally nothing he could do. Whether it was TJ Watt.
TJ Watt, man, he's a player, isn't he?
It does me in, like, he's just like, why? Because Packers passed on him. I thought he should have took him at the time. He's class, isn't he? They've got so many good players. That's what I would describe their defense as fast. So even like the big guys, like Tuitt and Hayward and that, and then you look at the Mike Mitchells and the Shaziers, and then you look at Bud Ward, Bud Dupree. They're speedy, they're quick and stuff, and in the end they dominated the game. By the end of the game, they took over. It was Steelers football. We'll get ourselves a lead, and then we'll pin our ears back and come and kick your heads in. Like
my issue with the Steelers, when they try to do this sometimes, they go into these prevent defences too often, too early, and I think they invite teams to come back at them, and I think they seem to change their game plan as the game goes along, and it gets more conservative as the games go along. I think, you see them backing off a little bit more, and those underneath routes are there, and I just feel like whenever they come up against a great quarterback, they'll take those underneath routes and they'll give them to skill guys who'll be able to get yards off the carrier, and that's where I see the downfall to that Pittsburgh D. And I do think it's down to Mike Tomlin's Tampa cover two.
The thing, they look like they can play more man. They've got the personnel to play more man. They'll have to play man at some stage. If they face New England, they have to do something. It's been too long where they've tried to go toe for toe with New England and it's not worked. Tom Brady's just sliced and diced them, so they might have to go man. What I would say is that they've got a much better pass rush with Watt and Dupree especially. Yeah. They've got pressure down the middle with two very, very good players, and then I think their corners can cover a little bit better than what was known in the past. So they should be able to go man. They have gone man a bit more this season. They're rounded into shape. Ben's looking. I said a few weeks ago, I'm not sure he's that good anymore. He's lost a little bit, but he's playing better. He's making better decisions. He's not. He's hitting Lev Bell.
He's still throwing under pressure a lot, though. Yeah, that's a bit of an issue, like when they are in the passing game.
Yeah, at times. The thing is, there's loads about offensive lines in the league, isn't it? That's a thing that everyone's kind of getting their heads around at the minute. That you've probably got to be able to do it. He's got the weapons, like you say. So he's got the best receiver in the league, arguably in Brown, who we haven't even talked about because he's that good. He just had another Antonio Brown day, touchdown, easy.
They changed the scheme slightly to try and get a little bit more of Martavis Bryant in after the news from last week. We saw the end around quite early on in the game and stuff like that, and then they didn't. Essentially, they kind of got away from that as well. They just went to
Lev Bell all the time, and then they used Smith-Schuster.
Brilliant. I really like him, exciting footballer.
Yeah, and good celebrations as well with the hide and seek. That's amazing. That's full effort, full marks on that hide and seek. That's great. There's talk that Bryant might get traded or he's unhappy with his role and stuff, and I'd just say it's fine. If I was them, if you think he's been a massive disruption, by all means, you might as well do it. You can still use Hayward Bay if you have to as your fourth or fifth option, whatever. Obviously, they had the fig punt as well, which I think is.
That was class.
I don't know if that was a call or whether it was a check class, or something, but that's something you do to embarrass the division.
Completely had me. Yeah, completely had me.
It's brilliant. Got him all day, and against the divisional opponent, that's great.
And now that's 2 passes in his career for 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's got the best pass rating of all time.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, the Steelers look dominant.
But they do tend to come into form the later the season goes, and I do think that, you know, they've had injuries over the last few
I just
seasons
really
and
hope
stuff.
that they just look after Lev Bell a little bit more, because I don't want to get to January and he can't play.
Okay, well, let's focus a little bit on the Bengals then. Dalton sacked a few times again, fumbled, intercepted a couple of times as well. Where is this Bengals side going? Because I think they've now lost 5 on the spin to the Pittsburgh Steelers. You can't be doing that to a division rival. You know, ultimately, let's look at it honestly and openly. I think they've got the talent to be able to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, yet they can't. What's going on there? Is it down to the coaching?
I don't think so. I think this one's down to the personnel. They chose to let Whitworth and Zeitler go, and you know, we've drafted these 2 young guys. We're going to bring them through and develop them. Well, good luck with that, because I don't think Fisher and Abui have worked out. You've given them a go and it's not working. There was too much pressure. And again, Andy Dalton isn't one of these guys like a Rodgers, like a Brady, like a Breeze, who can overcome.
Oh, he's a cousin. If everything else is working around him, he'll be absolutely fine.
Exactly. And he showed that the year when he had a really good season, his line was great. There's no coincidence on that. You know what I mean? He isn't particularly athletic. And by the end of the game, his head had gone. You know, it's 4th down and he throws it away.
Yeah, it's mad.
Because that's your head's snookered. And you're thinking, you know what, I'm just going to throw it. Whether he doesn't know the down distance, whether he's scared of the pass rush, fair play, you know.
It doesn't matter, it's a bad decision.
His head's gone. It must be, because you don't choose to do that when you're thinking clearly.
You may as well throw it to be intercepted and hope they don't get it back up to where you are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally that simple.
You
just launch it 60 yards.
Throwing out of bounds on 4th down is just stupid, and that's just him. That's what he'll do to you sometimes. You know what I mean? He's a good, not great quarterback, and if you pressure him, I think he's flaky. I think that's what you look at him and you think, you know, he's a bit soft. And I hate saying that about the fella because I don't know him that well, but watching him play and hearing his comments in the media this year and years gone by, like when JJ Watt gave him stick last year in the media, and he come out saying, I don't like that. I was like, I wouldn't want my quarterback saying that. I would want my quarterback saying, I don't care who's JJ Watt, I'm not this, I'm not that. But he kind of was a bit soft. I just think he's a bit flaky, and that's a bad characteristic, isn't it, to have as a quarterback? And more, if teams think that about you, you're going to take more pressure. And ultimately, he didn't cope with it.
Yeah, okay, well, we'll move it on then. We've got the New York Jets, another close game, 28-31 with the Miami Dolphins. Story of the game, Sting.
The Dolphins make another 17-point comeback. There was 17 points in the 4th quarter. Never mind, to win a game. They're down by 14, I think, as the clock goes to 4.
Without their starting quarterback.
Yeah, and so if nothing else, they're mentally resilient. You know what I mean? They come back from 17 down to beat Atlanta, and they've come down from 14 to 15, I think it was, to beat the Jets and stuff. So that shows that you've got a bit. You know, if nothing else, again, you might lack a little bit of talent, but you've clearly, you're not giving up on your coach. Because it's easy when you're down 14, 17 or whatever to just throw the towel in, you know what I mean? I'll save my body for next week, you know, I won't make that tackle, I won't make that run. But they don't do that. They've come back twice now, like you say, with a different quarterback. I think Matt Moore is better for that offense than Jay Cutler.
Why? He
just looks more suited. He makes better decisions. He doesn't throw off the back foot as much as Jay Cutler does, because that offensive line is having a few issues as well. And Jay Cutler's go-to move all through his career has been to backpedal. It's what he does to get out of pressure.
It's mad though that
every other quarterback in the league steps up,
he
goes back and he'll try and throw off his back foot because he's got a cannon. His arm is still an absolute, you know, it's an absolute cannon arm. And I think sometimes, maybe going through college at Vanderbilt and whatever, he got away with it because his arm was that good. In the NFL, you don't. And he backpedals too much. Where Matt Moore...
Sometimes you're looking at him, sometimes he's 15 to 20 yards behind the line.
Sometimes when he gets sacked, it goes from 1st and 10 to like 2nd and 18. No, 2nd and like 23. Yeah. It's like, how far back was he? Where was he going? And that's what he does. So they look better with Matt Moore. And when Tannehill was ruled out and they brought Cutler in, I kind of understood it, you know, because the scheme and etc. and that. But it must have been a bit disheartening for Matt Moore, who's been waiting for a chance. He's a good backup. He's not a good quarterback. He's a good backup quarterback. He knew the scheme more than Jay Cutler knew the scheme and stuff. So what they chose to go Cutler, I kind of get it. They must have thought they were in win now mode, whatever. But Matt Moore's not a bad player. There's not that much difference between Cutler and Moore. Cutler's a low-level starter and Matt Moore's a high-level backup.
I must admit, when the game started and stuff, and you see Cutler out on the bootlegs, I like Cutler in the bootleg. I think he's good at that because he is one of those, a bit like, oh my word, Lions quarterback, please come to my mind. Matt Stafford. He throws at mad angles and stuff, and Jay Cutler has the ability to do that as well. So I like him on the move and stuff. And again, you know, you talked through there. He's got a cannon of an arm. I thought they started all right. I was really surprised though with the Jets. I was really surprised with their offense. That's 2 games on the run now. McCowan's put up big numbers. You know, 38-year-old starter. He's been around the league. He's been in the league 14 seasons or something now. He's been 10,
11 teams.
10, 11 teams.
He's been everywhere.
Like
that game shows why he's always in the league, but it also shows why he's never really nailed the job down. Because right at the end of the game, when you can't lose that game, you can't throw that interception that he throws, and there he goes, he throws it. And that's why he showed for the first, 50 minutes or whatever, 55 minutes, why he's in the league. And he shows for the last 5 or few minutes why he's not a starter in the league regular for someone, because that's you just can't make that throw. It's an absolute terrible decision. Yeah. And for a veteran quarterback to make that throw that allows the interception that ultimately sets up the game and win a field goal, that just shows why Josh McCown, because he is talented. Again, it's just decision making, isn't it? That's what separates the good from the great.
It's surprising how well the Jets have played, though, nonetheless.
Yeah, it's a very, very good coaching job. After the first couple of weeks, they looked like, I don't know, and then with no-name players, to be honest,
no talent on that roster.
The cast off some of the, so Austin Seferian-Jenkins is emerging after he's had off-field troubles and stuff that he lost them, I think, out to Tampa. Robbie Anderson, Jermaine Kearse, just players that no one else really wanted. They traded away.
Yeah, Seahawks.
Yeah, they got him as part of the Sheldon Richardson thing. Is it Jamie Carley there, I think, and stuff. So just no-name lads, but they're playing well, they coach well. Defensively, I know they let 31 and usually they've been pretty strong. What I would say is that Todd Bowles was in danger of losing his job, I think. He was almost getting thrown under the bus. As you'd say, we're tanking the season, we're giving all our good players away. We'll get to next year, we'll get a new quarterback, and we might get a new coach, and we'll just start again. But he's showing that the players obviously like him and are fighting for him, because ultimately they know they're not going to do anything this season. They know what they are, but they're in every game pretty much. It just come down to one.
I like it, Steve. I think it's good to see, mate. I think you've got these guys who everyone before the season started was like, these are going to not win a game of football. Who's going to be the worst in football? Is it going to be Cleveland Browns or is it going to be the New York Jets? And they've stood up to everyone and gone, do you know what, fuck off. Because we can play, and collectively we can do better than some of our parts. And with good coaching, and these guys who want to fight for that coach, that's brilliant. I love that. That makes me like them more. That makes me want to back them.
It does. Ultimately, though, they're going to finish like 6 and 10, and they might.
And that's good for them.
It is good for.
That's a good season for them.
In isolation, yes, but they might be better off being worse.
Yeah. No, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Draft like
they were Colts.
Yeah. Having said that, they might have their eye on a free agent. So they might be looking at Kirk Cousins, or they might be looking at Jimmy Garoppolo, or they might be looking at another free agent.
And not need that high.
And maybe that's what they're thinking. And we'll prove to a veteran, actually come here. We've got a bit going about us. If you come in, we might go from 6 and 10 to 9 and 7. That's what that could be their aim. They might be playing themselves into that aim. You know what I mean? But I like Todd Bowles. I've always liked Todd Bowles. I thought he was a good coach everywhere he's been, and I hope it goes well for them. They deserve it, don't they, at the end of the day?
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll do the pick-em before we do our patented. Which way are we going?
You tell me.
Spin around the league.
Oh, no.
Never
go
get
again.
It right, do we? I'm just going to do the same.
Yeah, I'll change.
Yeah.
I'll change for you.
Thanks, mate. Okay, so we'll do pick-em first. I went 10 and 5. Jenna went an outstanding 13 and 2.
Amazing.
And Steve, you went 11 and 4. I'm not top of the league anymore. I am absolutely gutted. Harshall is top of the league once again by 30 points. That's 3. 30 points, you get what I'm saying. And he's given us a stick on Twitter. And I don't like it.
I love it.
I don't like
Fill your boots. I can't win though, because I forgot to put my picks in a few weeks ago. So
you can get back in.
I'll be very surprised.
You can absolutely.
I'm going to try. Don't get me wrong. I'll take it. You know what I've done as well? I backed against the Patriots. That was fucking stupid, wasn't it?
Yeah, so did I.
That's just stupid. That's why I'm 11 and 4 and not I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
I bought the Atlanta Kool-Aid. Having slagged them off all year, I thought they were going to win in the fog, and they didn't, and we'll come down in a minute.
Okay, well, we'll go to Kansas City, Oakland Raiders. Probably the best ball game from the week.
Yeah, the only reason we didn't put it in the top 4 was because by the time we filmed, it was a week late, so we thought, it's a bit dated. Yeah, really good game, actually. I thought both teams played pretty well. You know, it was very sloppy in terms of penalties at times. The end of the game shows that, you know, where was the three untimed downs because there was offensive pass interference, there was a holding. It was a bit crazy, you know, both teams thought they'd won the game about three different times. Oakland kept the season alive.
Yeah.
That's what they did. So they have one play with, you know, ultimately one play with the season on the line. It's interesting that he went to Michael Crabtree, gets the catch and it keeps them alive. Or very quick point on the Chiefs will be fine, they're a good team, don't worry about them. Nice to see Amari Cooper come back.
Yeah, big yards.
When there's so many injuries in the league and so many stars are missing, and we've, you know, the Beckhams and the Watts and you know, the Rodgers and what have you.
I thought you were going to forget about him then.
I'll never forget about him. It breaks me heart. You want the best. It hits me in the feels. You want the best players playing, and Amari Cooper's got the ability to be a very, very good player. He always has done. So it was great to see him come back, I thought, and that division's getting really fun. It
is. Okay, well, Atlanta, as we mentioned, bombed to the New England Patriots 23-7. Falcons' offense didn't get going. New England Patriots' much maligned defense keeps them to 7 points. My words, thing.
I don't know if it's New England credit or Atlanta blame. I don't know. I thought the red zone offense was horrendous. First of all, they missed those 2 kicks, which is just almost unforgivable. And then the red zone offense was just poor. That was the difference, you know what I mean? And the one time they got down there, they just threw it towards Julio Jones, and he just beasted Malcolm Butler.
This is a team that's lacking confidence, though, as well,
yeah,
isn't it?
He just took the ball off Malcolm Butler. He literally just grabbed it off his hand and went that. I was thinking, Julio Jones doesn't get enough targets in the red zone. His touchdown numbers aren't, compared to every other elite receiver, they're not. And, you know, they're doing little, like, 4th down on goal, and they're doing a jet sweep. I was like, what are you... Throw it to Julio Jones.
He's there.
If he's double covered, just throw it high. It makes no sense. I thought, sometimes I think coaches get in their own way. Kyle Shanahan's offense worked, it wasn't broke, don't try and fix it. You know, Steve Sarkisian's come in and he's changed things. There's less motion at the line. They run the ball less than they used to. It just looks like they're getting in their own way because they didn't need to change anything, and yet they have. On the New England side, Tom Brady, people don't talk about it. He's the MVP. Everyone else, you know, the men, Alex Smith and we're going to do a Carson Wentz later as well, both playing really, really well. Tom Brady's playing the best I've ever seen him play. He is absolutely phenomenal. It's just like he's on a
no weapons thing.
He's on a different planet. He's on a different planet. How good that guy is, and again, the defense is getting better, but it's still not perfect. Gronk's lost a step. He's still Gronk.
And the fact, you know, with Gronk, he is having to do a lot more work in the blocking game because that O-line's terrible. And Brady's taken more hits now than I think he's ever taken. Yeah. And yet is still able, at his age, to stand up to it. Still able to see the field while the pressure's coming to him and still able to make the throws. It's absolutely incredible.
People will forget it by the end of the season, but that touchdown to James White is ridiculous. He's reading the field one way and he just comes off his read and sees James White fire. Knows exactly where his check down is. White's exactly where he needs to be, touchdown. Yeah. Brady's he's on a different planet at the moment.
Okay, one of the games of the weekend for me. New Orleans Saints 27, Green Bay Packers 17. Stay.
26, 9. Don't.
Sorry.
9. It went 10. It was 9. 9 points.
What?
9 points. 26.
What did I say?
You said 27. Don't disparage us too much.
Apologies.
That 1 point matters.
Okay. Did it make you win the game?
No. What I would say, Brett Hundley held the ball too long. That was the difference in this game. Last time, there's been talk that Packers receivers don't get open. They actually got open in this game. Brett Hundley was just very wide-eyed, and he held the ball far too long at times. There was one where Jordy Nelson's open down the middle, and he holds on to the ball that long that by the time he throws it, 2 cornerbacks. Another, I think Lattimore was able to come off his route and cover because he held it too long and he just kind of floated it. They've got a bye now, so hopefully that they might be able to work on a few more things, get the ball out of his hands, because when they ran the ball really well. Aaron Jones, 130-something yards, touchdown again. Hundley himself was good with his legs. The New Orleans defense just confused them. You know, they're playing really well, which go back to the beginning of the season when we slated them. Fair play to them, they've turned it round. I mentioned Lattimore before. Cam Jordan's one of the best players no one talks about.
We were talking about him last week, like he's been incredible the last few weeks.
Yeah, for sure, and they just confused Brett Hundley. That's all it was. They got the better of him, and Drew Brees throws 2 interceptions on his first 2 possessions, comes back and then just dominates. The Packers defense just couldn't get any stops, and the Saints deservedly won it.
Okay, well, let's give us one line on Jacksonville, Indianapolis, 27-zip.
Jacksonville without their best player dominated that game. 10 sacks, and it could have been 20. You know, Jacoby Brissett does well not to get sacked every time in the ball. Literally every drop back he could have been sacked. So, you know, the Saxonville tag is right back. Calais Campbell's got 10 sacks after 7 games. You know what I mean? He's on for Strahan's record. No one's can't talk about yet, but he definitely is. You know, he could get, if he plays Indianapolis again, he might get 10 in it on his own. So, yeah, they were far too good. Far too good.
Anything for the Colts?
It's just garbage. I mean, T.Y. Hilton calls out the O-line, and rightly so. Your quarterback's going to get killed. Quarterback's going to get killed. So when we go back to Arizona Rams...
I missed it, yeah. Of course, the Wembley game. Twickenham game, apologies.
Twickers.
Arizona zip, LA Rams. So many shutouts this week. Rams, really impressive. Arizona, not so much. I mean, I
go away, 33-0.
Yeah. I put Peterson in fantasy footy this week, not last week, even though we got him before. Man, what a bad mistake that is. Palmer goes down as well, injured. I mean, it's
broke his arm. He's out for this.
It's not looking good for the Arizona Cardinals.
That could be the end. That could be the end of him. It really could be.
I think it is.
8 games to go. All I can think of is that he might come back if he is going to retire to play a final farewell game and stuff. But
no point.
I mean,
no love lost. He's not won anything with them.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Why bother?
Yeah, do something's awful. Maybe if you can play, but. Yeah, I like the Rams go to their bye week now, don't they, in a very healthy position.
They're looking really good, Steve.
Offensively, Todd Gurley's just, I mean, on a different planet to Adrian Peterson at the moment. The passing of the torch is there, isn't it? And I think what happened...
About 110 yards for him again.
I think what happened is last week, Tampa had no tape on Adrian Peterson. They just probably didn't even game plan that much for him. The Rams will have been prepared. They were prepared. And Aaron Donald, again, just beasting the line and stuff. The Cardinals are just done. They just look knackered, and they look like they need to just reboot and start again.
It's a shame for me because one of the greatest wide receivers that I've seen play football, his career is just going to peter out this season.
It's a shame,
and that's absolutely gutting for me because I love Larry Fitzgerald. Tennessee Titans at 12, Cleveland 9. Close game. I can't believe I put Mariota in my fancy footy team and not Alex Smith this weekend.
Yeah, that was
what an idiot.
No, you can see the justification. He's playing Cleveland.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking.
The logic's fine.
Mate, there was about a 25 point difference.
Yeah, it wasn't even...
Well,
he didn't score a touchdown.
I literally lost because of that.
He didn't score a touchdown, did he? For the Titans, I think hopefully they can just write this off. You know, on a short week with an injured quarterback, I think they go into their bye as well now, and you just think, hopefully for them, Mariota goes and gets fit and gets healthy and stuff. And for the Browns, there was your chance. There's your game that you could have won and you blew it again. Injuries, Joe Thomas goes down, which is horrendous. You know, it's the first snap he's ever missed. Myles Garrett gets a concussion, he might be in trouble again. It was just, there's your game. There's your one that you could have had it and you didn't. And the Titans will just think, you know what, we got out of jail. We win it, move on, forget about it. And let's just get out. Let's say it is what it is, but Cleveland, I don't know anymore.
We've got them next week, and talking to the Minnesota Vikings. We beat the Baltimore Ravens 24-16. My Minnesota Vikings, of course, we're going down. Both of us are going down to see them at Twickenham on Sunday. Dead excited to see Case Keenum in the flesh. Of course, because who doesn't want to go and see that? But you know what? I've been down on the Vikings all season long. We're playing so well, Steve.
Defensively, especially.
Our defence can keep us in games of football. Like in Case Keenum's, he's not bad.
He's all right.
He's all right.
I think he's good enough to start, or be like low level start, a high level backup. That's what he is, and he'll make stupid mistakes at times. He makes stupid mistakes against the Packers, but then he can do enough. He's a holding quarterback, isn't he? And defensively, they're outstanding. Everson Griffin is just...
Griffin, Rhodes, there's Smith, I mean, you could just go through it. There's just so many of them that are playing at such a high level right now.
I think Griffin's the key.
Yeah,
Griffin's
absolutely.
the key.
The pressure that he gets, mate, is unbelievable.
And even when he doesn't get hits and sacks, he's like the fear of God into people. And Baltimore, offensively, are just so dull and boring.
They don't even take the shots no more.
Yeah, it's well, they lost everyone, and they got Griff Whalen, and I think it's Catanzaro playing wide receiver because they've had a few injuries and stuff. And it's like, this is what happens when you don't invest in your offense. All their draft picks recently have been defensively because they want to be the defensive Ravens and stuff. And I get you stick to your identity, but you've got to pay some attention. They tried to draft Perriman and it didn't work, and that's really killed them. That's really killed him because Griff Whalen shouldn't even be in the league. Fucking hell. Last time I saw him, he was doing that ridiculous fake punt for the Colts against the Patriots. It's just like, not good enough. Not good. And it's a shame because their defence is good enough to win. But similar to the Vikings, they should be a defensive team who does just enough to win on offence. And yet Joe Flacco's playing crap.
I don't think that's true with the Vikings. You know, I think if we've got a quarterback, I think we've
I
got
agree.
you know,
I agree.
Diggs and Thielen and Dalvin Cook as well. That's a side there that can go places. And you know, we're unfortunate with our injuries, just like a lot of teams in the NFL at the moment. But when you look at the investment that the Vikings have made for their backups, that's a well-run ball club because you've got there. You know, we had to bring Sam Bradford and Terry Bridgewater. Terry Bridgewater might be back before the end of the season, but he's not played football in 21 months.
So you get Case Keenum.
So you get Case Keenum. You've got Dalvin Cook. We had Latavius Murray already, and it kind of busted out for us. But the last 2 games, his carries have gone up and up, and he seems to be able to get yards now. Jarrett McKinnon's never going to be an RB1, but he's getting the yards that we need. He's getting those touchdowns when we need them. So it's depth. That's what's getting
Treadwell
the Vikings through. Treadwell, we needed that first-round pick to come through, and he is doing. He's starting to make plays for us, and especially when Diggs has been out as well. But Thielen's the one for me. Thielen's the one that, just like Jared Cook back in the day, getting everybody up in the stadium, because Thielen went to university in Minnesota, because he grew up in Minnesota, whenever he catches the ball, the crowd get involved in it, and it makes it such a better atmosphere for them players to play in.
Yeah, and again, I think they're probably going to win the division now, aren't you? You'd hope you've got a chance. And like I say, defensively they're outstanding. No one will want to go to play the Vikings at any stage because at the minute, like Griffin and Rhodes and stuff are just playing such a high level. Smith's ridiculous. But yeah, they're just fantastic. And
bar the guy at Seattle, I don't think there's any better safeties out there.
You get Smith's ridiculous. People again, another player no one talks about too much, but really strong win against a pretty good defense in Baltimore.
Okay, blowout for Dallas 40, San Francisco 10. San Francisco, I think, were 13 points or 15 points over 8 games. Well, that's gone out the window, hasn't it? Because they've added 30 points now onto that one.
Zeke Elliott just killed them, absolutely destroyed them. He just ran all over them, caught the ball, ran all over them and stuff, and it wasn't even close yet.
What's going on for Shanahan?
He has a lot of good players. For starters, CJ Beathard was playing quarterback, and he just makes some ridiculous. Again, the reason he fell in the draft because his arms, he's got poor arm, his arm's not good enough. So at times their scheme looks good, you know, it looks all right. Garcon could be a decent weapon. Carlos Hyde, I think, is actually. They're just fine. They're good. They're not great, but
he couldn't do it in Washington. He did it at the Colts. As I say, we had Reggie Wayne on the other side.
Yeah, maybe. I just think this is what the 49ers. It is. They ran to a juggernaut and they couldn't cope. And for them to win any type of games, you're going to have, again, I know they've had one shootout with the Rams and stuff, but in fairness, they needed to be like 15, 18 or something if they win. You know, I mean, they're never scoring 40 against, again, they fluked it on that Thursday. Thursday night football is weird. Weird things can happen on a Thursday, but in general, I think you can't do that. And as I say, Zeke Elliott just absolutely destroyed them.
Okay, Seattle 24, New York Giants 7. Stay story this one.
The Giants have got no one to throw it to, apart from Evan Ingram, who looks really good. Seattle's offense stuttered again because that's what it does, but they're just so good they're just so good defensively.
Listen, I said this to Jenna last week, mate. I'm not writing Seattle serial. I am absolutely not writing them off because they always get better the longer the season goes on, and it always seems to be the case where the Seattle offense struggles, and then there's just some magic there. Do you know what I mean? And the quarterback just gets them through it, gets one drive, and then they get the points that they need to win the game. But as the season progresses, I expect that offense is will start to get.
I don't know. Well. I'm not sure it'll be. I think it is what it is in that it'll struggle for long periods, but then Russell Wilson will do something. Russell Wilson will do some magic because he's great. I think I ranked him as the 3rd best quarterback in the league, so now he must be 2nd with Rodgers out, and he's just magic. And he'll do that throw where he makes the Richardson with like a little flea flicker type thing, just a bit of magic. And you can, when your defense is as good as theirs is, where the Giants had nothing all day, that's all you need. So, I mean. Would you be surprised to see Seattle in the Super Bowl based on their defense and Russell Wilson? No. Because I've seen it twice before. So you'd be stupid to rule them out. They are not. Their offense has got no foundation to it. There's no scheme. First half it was a mess. It was everything about it was awful. But then, like I say, a couple of plays, click into gear, let your defence take over the game, and they will because they're just so good. They've got too many good players to be that bad.
Okay, well, 2 more games to go. We've got Carolina 3, Chicago 17. The second loss on the bounce for Carolina. Look poor in both for them. Cam Newton, you know, a couple of interceptions. Last week, how did he perform this week?
This was a weird game because like they had the more ball than the Bears. They outgained them. They had everything about 2 turnovers from 75 yards or more by Eddie Jackson, the first ever player to do it. So one is off Cam goes to throw it to Samuel on a backwards pass. Samuel just drops it, runs in the touchdown, and then there's a tipped ball that goes in. Mr. Trubisky threw the ball 7 times. 7 times, and they won. That's a John Fox Stiffy game, isn't it? That's what he dreams of. So they hide the quarterback, the defence does them a job.
Just to think, I don't know how many Americans watch ours, but I'm not sure they get the Stiffy.
Boner, is that what Americans call it?
Probably,
a John Fox boner.
I had to think about it because I don't think I've heard it since I was 11.
I don't know. That's what it was. John Fox was...
I was in Rudston Junior School when I last heard the word Stiffy used in conversation.
I'm bringing Stiffy back. John Fox just loves that game, doesn't he? You know, they've got a really good defence, the Bears, I'll tell you that. Carolina's offence really struggled, you're right. Weird game. If you play that game 99 times, Carolina probably win, you know, 98 of them.
Why did you play it 99 times and not 100? You just decided to change something.
Yeah, I was meant to say play 100, they might win 99 of them, but you know, I got
At least you got it right.
99. It's a one-off.
At least you realised that they went 98 of them.
I thought I got away with it as well until you brought it up.
I'm not gonna. No
not letting that
I got a Stiffy on when you said it.
So yeah. That's what that was, yeah. Move on, it's fine.
Okay, Washington Redskins 24, Philadelphia Eagles 34.
Again,
how did this one make you feel?
Yeah, Carson Wentz got a massive stiffy on. This would have been higher again. It happened on Monday, so we didn't really have time to break it down as much as we want to. But the game, this
Wentz is ridiculous.
That's what comes out of this game, isn't it? Carson Wentz in prime time just balls out.
Eyes of the nation and nay the world on him, and he is incredible.
He is so hard to tackle. He reminds, again, I've said it a few times now, young Big Ben, where he's just throwing fellas off him. And that one was almost end the game pretty much at the end when he throws 4 lads off him, and he looks like even the commentator goes, and they've got Wentz. Oh no, he's escaped. It's like, how's he done that? Like Houdini. It's crazy. And I thought Washington are good. Washington are a good team. They played well, but Carson Wentz just played too good for them. They lost their left tackle, which we'll speak about in the preview show. Peters, yeah, that's huge. And they also lost.
I mean, he's a 9-time Pro Bowler.
He's just a bookend. He's just a bookend left tackle.
And you're looking at, I think I remember reading the stats on this guy. Whenever they've run behind him consistently, it's like 4.5 yards a carry behind Peters. I mean, he's that good. He's an incredible tackle, best in the league. Actually.
One of them, yeah, he's definitely up there, and it's a shame for them, and we'll see how they get on. But that was the one negative for it, because other than that, they're the best team in the league record-wise. They've looked the best team a lot of the time. Again, hopefully they stay healthy. As for Washington, I think Washington are good.
I've always said it this season. I like the Redskins.
They play well, and they've got a decent pass rush. They performed okay. They just got to play by a better quarterback on a better day at home, and that can happen.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there we go. That's the review show. What are we calling it? Overtime. I called it Extra Time last week, which was an old Red Men show that we used to do. So apologies for that. Nobody noticed.
Let's call it the Stiffy Show.
No,
okay.
Let's not call it the Stiffy Show.
I imagine
you can have your own Stiffy show, and don't you dare show me your fucking Stiffy.
Do you reckon people Google Stiffy anymore? Because if they do, that could be hits.
It's like
I'm going to put it in the description.
No, don't.
Okay.
Don't.
Okay.
It's for Redmen, I had to Liverpool were playing Young Boys, and I had to Google Young Boys. Don't Google Young Boys. Okay, it's just not a thing.
The police are knocking at your
private browser. Okay, well there we go. That is the Overtime Show. I've been Chris Pajak. That's been Steve Hall. Let us know what you thought of the show and of all the games in the comments section below. Sorry it's a day late as well. Steve's a meth. A meth with a Stiffy. Thanks for watching. Give us a like. Drop us a subscribe. No, drop us a like. Give us a subscribe. And we'll see you next time on Cover 2 TV for the preview show.